Hey, welcome to episode 27. I'm here today with Raquel Perry on the Brad Davidson Show. I know I've been tinkering with this. She's coming, she's not coming, she's coming. Last time I had to have Caesar edit it out because I had it all set up that you were coming. And I realized, got sick. Well, no, and then no, this was the other time. I realized, oopsie. Oh, shit. She's out of town. So I had to text him when we were done and say, you got to cut all that out. Yeah. But you're here. Yes, I am. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me. Yeah. I am super pumped. Yeah. I really am. Standing ovation already. We hadn't even started. I had no idea you had so many fans, Brad. Well, actually, I did. That's the first time they've shown up, so they must be following you. Hardly. So excited to have this conversation with you. Yes. This will be really fun. It's already been really fun. I can't wait to share the pre-clips of before the show started. Do I get first right of refusal on that? No. Oh, damn it. You lost that right when you walked in this door. Shit. Did I sign something? I don't recall. You didn't? No. So I guess you could do whatever you want. Okay. All right. Are we allowed to cuss? Are we allowed to cuss? Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. No filters in here. I love that. That's why I threw one out right out the gate. Okay, good. So just so you know that it was wanted. Anything goes in this space. Yeah. You got to be you. I know it's hard not to be. Yeah. True story. So start off. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, all that fun stuff. Okay. Well, Raquel Perry is my name. And I'm just going to talk about how I met you. Can I start with that? Yeah, perfect. I met Brad. We were both working at a local gym. And maybe this is going into too much information right off the bat, but I feel like that's what I'm here for. Exactly. So I was working out at this gym, taking classes, participating. He was training a lot of clients there. And we kind of had the smile and nod relationship, I would call that, right? We hadn't really had many conversations, I don't think. Well, no, but we go all the way back to Sports Club Irvine. We do? 1999, 2000. My God. Okay, all right. I never met, we worked there together, but I never met you. Okay. But I've known who you were for 20 some years now. Okay. Well, I will back up and say I've been in this industry in some way, shape, or form for 40 years. So that's so hard to believe because I'm only 40. So no, I don't want to only be 40, actually. 59 going on 60, and that's a big number, but I'm trying to reframe that with your help. Yeah. And embracing it. So being in this industry, and what I mean by that is I started in a boiler room, literally working for Family Fitness Center, dialing and smiling, and hey, guess what? You just won a free week membership. that BS. Needless to say, that was not really my vibe. Moving on to teaching. I taught everywhere. If you know of the place, I've probably taught there. Richard Simmons Anatomy Asylum. I taught, Linda Evans had a place for a while. Holiday Spa. I on and on and on and on. So and I managed one of Holiday Spas in Mission Viejo. So I've been tinkering in this. I've taught pretty much every modality you can think of besides water aerobics. Done some personal training, all the things, spin classes, step classes, blah, blah, blah. And I love this industry. I think it's amazing. It can also be not so amazing at some points. And you and I have had many, many conversations about that. So I've seen a lot in this 40 years of being in it. And a lot I love about it and a lot I don't. And like I said, we've both had conversations about this where, gosh, remember when this or remember when that, and why is this happening now and why is that happening now? And, I come back to why I do it. I do it because I love to help people. I love to be a part of inspiring people. And that just makes me feel amazing. It really is. And one of your guests, Mara St. Clair, that was on here doing the human design, she said, when you find the thing that you love, it just lights you up and And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so true. It really is. That's why I can tell when it's time for me to leave a place. If I don't have that, one thing that I feel like I'm good at is if people say, here you go, do your thing. I'm very good at doing my thing, air quotes, versus if someone says, here are your parameters. You need to do this much this much this much this. This is what it needs to look like. Don't do this. I don't work very well under those sort of restrictions. And not that I don't want to be a rule follower, because strangely, I really am a rule follower. I just do better when I'm allowed to create and
like you said, be myself, be authentic, show up that way, not, oh, what was it that I needed to say or do? I don't need a script. I've kind of found my sort of, my vibe, if you will.
Yeah.
And you've been in my class before. You nearly died, but you haven't.
Like 3 times.
Yes.
my favorite. Okay, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh no!
Because you know what you do to me is we walk in there, and I know how hard it is for me. And you're like, "Oh, we have a special guest today, my trainer." And then I look like a moron.
No, you don't.
The second class, the first time I took a strength class with you, the last 10 minutes, I just lay on the floor. Because I wasn't going to pass out, and I was sure as hell not going to run out of the room in front of everyone. So I just laid there like a zombie for the last 10 minutes. It's hard.
But you know what? That's huge in my opinion, because knowing when to say when is so important. It's so important because I see these people that will just freaking keep going. I mean, it's never a woman. I will say this. Women know when to tap out. They know when to take a break, right? Because to be fair, this class, we should tell people, it's heated to 95 degrees.
Yeah, it's hard.
And you're doing kind of ballistic movements in that heat. So
I mean, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like I did it periodically for a while. Like my flexibility got better.
Yeah.
My joints felt better. My conditioning got better.
Sure.
I acclimated to heat a lot, but it was hard. Every time you like call me out, I'm like, oh my God.
I did not call you out. I'm
Every
like,
time.
yes, Brad, let's go.
We have a special guest here, my trainer.
But here's the thing.
And then I get my ass handed to me.
I say that with love because I want people to know this guy's great.
And I have my little 5-pound dumbbells. It was like, really 5 pounds? I'm like, yeah.
You knew you could handle it. I love that.
That was about it.
Yeah, that's okay.
But the thing with your class is so fascinating is you feel so, when you're taking the class, you feel like seen by you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I try.
I watched that happen, and it's like, you're so good at that.
I try.
So, yeah, it's very uplifting, very exciting. It's very challenging, which is good. Mm-hmm. But you feel seen. Like, I think every person in that room feels seen. It's really cool.
I try very hard to learn everyone's names.
Yeah.
We have an app that shows me where everybody is seated, if you will, in the class. So I can see first and last names, and I learn names much better when I can see them visually.
Yeah.
So I want to know if Karen is with a C or a K, for example. Or does Shelley have an EY or is it Y? For me, seeing it visually helps a lot. So that's one thing that people tell me is great because they've gone to other classes where maybe the instructor remembers their name, maybe they don't, but I really try hard to say every single person's name in that class.
Yeah.
And if I don't know it, and that's kind of why I said, hey, look who's here today. We've got a special guest. Because I want new people to feel included. I want them to feel a part of the tribe.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah. I was more like, oh, God, they're going to see how pathetic I am at this.
No. And I also am a huge fan of promoting people and things that I believe in.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that about you.
And as you know, I've promoted the weight room a lot.
Yeah.
And your services and what you do. And I love that. It's not, I don't get a kickback for it. Yeah. It's not like you say, well, every 3 people that you get to sign up with me, it's not like that. And that's, I think, those sort of real organic connections are so much better.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
They're my favorite people to work with.
Right.
They come in excited versus coming in like guarded. They're open, ready to roll and try it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the most recent connections I can think of is Vanessa. And what a great connect that was.
Yeah, she's been huge
on so many levels.
Yeah.
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 So I think I answered your question. That's kind of where I met you. Like I said, knew some people you trained with. Hey, how's it going? Whatever. And then I decided, do we get to get my boobs out. Get my boobs out. After 30 years of having the girls, I decided, well, honestly.
No, I get
it. And this might be triggering for certain people because they love them, but 90s boobs aren't the way anymore. Yeah. And I kept thinking, they say every 10 years that they should be taken out and reevaluated and redone. And I always kind of thought, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then I'd had 2 kids and they were a little low-hanging fruit versus where they, up and perky. And I also was starting to feel like as I had gone through menopause, which is a whole nother conversation with you, that they made me look matronly, that they made me look thick, plus all the things that I like to do, yoga. And at the time, I was doing a lot of HIIT training at the time. And it wasn't helping. It was hindering. I always had to think about, is this top going to work to, keep them in check? Or are we going to have, a pepperoni slip out? I don't know. So anyway, I made that decision. And I can remember going to my doctor, shout out Tenley Lawton, she's amazing, and saying, I want to get them out. I know I'm going to need a lift. And she said, well, do you want a smaller implant put in? And I thought about it for a moment, and I thought, I really don't. At my age, and this was 2.5 years ago, I thought, I don't really think I need that. And she said, well, it's not like you're old. And I said, no, but fortunately my husband is a butt man, not a boob man. And shout out Raquel Perry. And it just, I thought, no, I really don't think it matters. I was really kind of excited to be able to wear anything I wanted, to not have to have, like I said, them strapped down with 2 sports bras and all the things. So I'd made that decision, and I remember talking to you and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to do all these crazy classes anymore, jumping and backflipping and all that stuff. And hey, would you work with me in the interim while I'm healing from that, and I could, kind of get me on track? And you said absolutely. So we did that, and I can remember, and honestly, my surgery was so easy. It was amazing, and probably because my implants had been over the muscle and not submuscular. And so it was literally, boop, the end block, get the capsule out, blah, 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 lift. The scars are 0. If I flashed you right now, you would not believe it, but I will not do that right now. Anyway, so it was super easy. And I got to work out 10 days, I think, after the surgery.
That was great.
It really was fast. Yeah. And I was teaching maybe even sooner than 2 weeks after. I mean, she said, you're going to know if it's too much. Anyway, I, in my head, thought, I'm going to train with Brad for a very short period of time, and then I'm going to go back to this HIIT stuff. I'm going to go back to all that crazy, all the fun stuff. And what happened in that period of time, which I'm very thankful for, is you helped me really shift my way of thinking in what is not only working for me, what is appropriate. And I don't mean appropriate in the way that, it's not appropriate because you're an old lady, you can't do that. I can. I could still go out and do that crazy stuff. I can still do a spin class and go crazy. I could still, but I don't want to anymore. That's the beautiful thing that happened. And you were just really an integral part in helping me understand more is not better, less is more.
Yeah.
What?
That was a dog fight, by the way.
No, it wasn't.
That was not an easy transition for you.
Really?
You fought it for a bit.
Did I?
Yes. Everybody does.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm doing too much? What do you mean I need to do less? What do you mean I don't need to do all that high intensity stuff? Yeah. We're very led to believe that's the answer.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So, yeah.
And it's sexy.
Yeah, it's sexy. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's the lights, the music. Like I ask people all the time, like, what is it about that you love so much? Oh, the music and the lights. And like, oh, so you're entertained.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, well, no, everything you just said was pure entertainment.
Yes.
So you're not going there for the fit, you're going there for the entertainment. And that's totally fine.
Right.
But like recognize that.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, God, you're right. Like, you just see a lot of people beat themselves up at those classes. But it's a hard one to flip because the industry is all about them.
Absolutely.
Harder is better.
Yep.
More is better.
Yep.
Suck it up. Do more. Eat all the things we've always heard.
I was working at Equinox because I worked there for 12 years actually, and I can remember when the idea of HIIT came out. And, wait, what? We can do this, and there's an afterburn, and wow. That became, and it still is.
Yeah.
Everybody still loves that. And you're right, now that I think about it, when we first started training, you said, well, you can do a spin class once a week for fun, but like, okay. Yeah. I mean, I taught spin for 20-something years and did it before it became cool. I mean, again, it's kind of ridden waves, I should say. Yeah. And the resurgence of it was, I don't know, Grit Cycle probably was when it really got to be big again, which I worked at also. So you're right. It was, now that I think about it, it probably was a little more challenging. I think I had thought, well, I teach 9 classes a week, and they're all in the heat right now. They didn't all used to be, because I was at a couple different places, but now I'm just at Raw Yoga teaching, and they're all in 95-degree heat. And even just standing there talking is a lot. And you can probably already tell if you're listening to this that I'm not a super chill person. So I'm very, I'm hype when I'm teaching these classes. I'm not teaching a level 1 yoga. Sometimes I do, which I love actually. But in my head, one thing you had to help me with was all these classes. Well, these aren't my workouts. I'm not counting this as my workout. This is not for me. This is for, because we're told this in the industry that these are not your workouts. You're leading, you're coaching. So I thought, okay, so now I still need to go do my stuff. So I would try to layer on top of all the things that I was doing, these other classes or what have all the things, and was tired. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to do that. And when you told me I only needed to weight train 2 or 3 times a week and walk, what the hell are you talking about? So you're right. Now that I do think about it, but now that I've been on board and gone through menopause and seen that, because I don't drink, I don't eat very poorly. I think most people would say
eat very well.
I eat very clean.
Yes.
And I did your reset, loved that. You guys should all check that out if you haven't checked out his book. It's pretty cool.
That was the first thing we started with, right?
No.
Oh, we didn't start? Oh, that's right.
Because I was complaining. Yeah. I said, what is happening? I'm doing all the things you're telling me. I'm resting well. I'm sleeping well. I'm recovering. But I still feel, but hormones are a funky thing. And getting that, leveled out properly is huge and so important if you're a woman, especially. I don't know how anybody goes through that without help, without seeing an integrated doctor that will help you, look at your hormones and your panels and all the things.
I want to integrate something right here because this is really important. So a lot of people think, oh, you're just a hater on the HIIT classes because you don't like them. It's like, no, I actually loved them. I went through it all myself.
Right.
But especially for women at start kind of with the perimenopause, the menopause, and postmenopause, the biggest enemy to the female metabolism at that point is stress.
Yes.
And what people don't realize is the accumulation of stress that's going on in their lives. You're teaching 9 classes a week. Watch your heart rate. It's elevating. It's stressful. It's heat. That's hard. You have your marriage. You have your children. And let's be real, as children get older, they become more and more stressful. I'm learning that.
Yeah.
Right? Their problems become bigger problems.
Right.
Then you throw hard exercise on top of it. That is driving a stress response. So you have to look at the whole accumulated scenario of what's this person's life like, how much stress are they under, and how much damage is that doing to the hormones. Because with a female, when they hit menopause, postmenopause, estrogen and progesterone drop. Stress begins to elevate. And testosterone, for most women, stays about the same. So before they hit menopause, they have high estrogen, higher progesterone. They have the stress hormones still, but the testosterone is considered lower. So in that state, when stress elevates in a woman and she has high estrogen, high progesterone, it prevents belly fat from layering. But as soon as those hormones drop and stress stays up, a woman is now considered more in a high stress, high testosterone state. And guess what that tells the body to do? Lay belly fat.
And it does.
And it does.
I'm here to tell you.
On a man, it does the opposite. High stress, high testosterone takes belly fat off. For like the first 60 years of studying metabolism is all done on men. Women didn't come into the equation until like the late 90s on the studies.
Rude.
So like, I'm sorry, but a man and a woman are very different.
Yes.
It's not hard to tell that.
Agreed.
Metabolisms are very different. Hormones very different.
And what works for you isn't going to work for me.
Yeah. So all the studies came out and said, oh, this works great for a man. It must be good for a woman as well. So they put women into this state with all this crazy exercise, this low dieting. That's stressful as well. You don't sleep as well because the hormones are all effed up and the liver's all these things are causing massive havoc. And so what happens to women is they hit menopause. They're like, Jesus Christ, I didn't do anything different. Now all of a sudden I got like all this belly fat. What happened? That's what happened.
Yep.
So it's not that I'm a HIIT hater.
Right.
I just looked at the research and it had been very clear. And like the newest research even came out to validate this, that up to about 90 minutes a week of it, which is like 2 classes a week, it's really good for us. At 150 minutes a week, which is 3 classes a week, it fucks us all up. everything goes haywire, goes backfire, glucose tolerance is out the window. And all of a sudden it just gets worse for people, especially for women in menopause and postmenopause. It causes massive havoc. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because I've had to deal with this for so long with the ladies that I work with. And I just got lucky learning from Dr. Jay Tita all about the female metabolism. Like, that's what's going on. So all these people are like, oh, you just hate HIIT. You just don't like to do it. I'm like, no, I actually really loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun.
It's fun. It is fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining.
Right.
But I just saw the reality of what it did to myself from doing too much of it, because I bought into it.
Yeah.
I bought into all that research on the EPOC, the exercise post-oxygen consumption. Like, I was all about it. Sure. Screwing people up. I was just 10 years ahead of the curve because I learned it really early.
Right.
Like, so I just saw what had happened. And so that's why I'm so passionately against it.
Yes.
I'm not against it. I'm against it in excess.
Right. And most people, what I've found is they find something they love, whatever it is. Is it spin class? Is it HIIT class? Is it even yoga? And once they find it, they want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And they want to do the same modality all the time. And they don't want to change it. And that screws us up too.
Well, and then we get good at it.
Sure.
And now we're like the primary students. Woo, look at me. Like, I'm the star student. Yeah, but we've adapted to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But even at Raw, I have students that will take 2 classes in a row or, 3 times a week. And it's hard for me to explain to people. I love having you in class. Don't get me wrong. I love having you there. I'd love you to be in every one of my classes. But is that the best case scenario for you? Probably not.
Yeah.
Factor in a level 1 vinyasa. Factor in a yin class. Factor in a hot yoga class where you're stretching. Yeah, it's very hot. Do some different things. Yes. And people don't want to do that. They find the thing they love, and that lights their fire, and that's what they want to do, and they run with it. And I'll have people say, oh, but, I just do this until I'm bored with it, and then I move on to something else. Yeah, and then you become addicted to that and do the same thing. It's really hard to walk that line. I feel like I've been through it. We've all been through it. I used to teach a spin class that was an hour. They weren't 45 minutes when I was teaching. They were an hour. And then I'd go to the track and run stairs. Yeah. How stupid is that? Yeah. I think about that now, but I did that all the time.
Yeah.
So I've overtrained. I know you have.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah.
And it's I think people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them, you don't need to be doing all that.
Yeah.
They think that I'm making it up. But again, having been through I never really worried about the belly fat thing. It happened. It was, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer is. And it isn't, and I understand what you're saying. It isn't that you are hating on it.
No.
Because you can see, there's some benefit. You don't need to not do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it every day, twice a day.
So there's 3 very clear predictors of longevity. VO2 max is one of them. HIIT training, like high intensity cardio based scenario, is the best way to develop that.
Okay.
But then muscle mass and strength are the other 2. You cannot produce muscle mass and strength in these HIIT style classes. To build muscle mass and strength is very strategic, and it takes time. It takes a lot of repetition, and it takes a lot of focus on recovery. It's very easy to strip off muscle mass on someone. Like, it might be the easiest thing to do, but no one's
tracking
anything.
You mean like Ozempic?
Well, yeah, that'll work wonders on you, right? Like, it's very easy to do that because everyone's in the fight. Oh, the scale, I got to get the scale down. The scale down. Yeah. The fast way to get the scale down is strip off muscle mass.
Sure.
Super easy to do. But what we do when all this process happens is we're taking away 2 of the top predictors of longevity, muscle mass and strength. That's why I'm so big on those things. I'm not coming out. These are not my. This is what I love. So that's why I'm pushing it all. It's like it's very clear in research. Right. So there are ways you can use with weightlifting, like how we train. It's not exciting.
No.
It's been around forever, like since the Cold War. Like, seriously, that's when it's called peripheral heart action. It was founded in the Cold War. Yeah. And it's the best way in regards from a scientific standpoint to drop body fat, increase lean muscle mass, and increase or maintain strength. It also brings blood pressure down more, resting heart rate down more than the HIIT stuff. But the HIIT stuff beats the VO2 max development, like 18% to 8%. So that's why I'm not against it. But that's why I'm like, yeah, go do your spin class once or twice a week because I know you can recover from that. And now hit the smarter scenario, which is the weightlifting, because muscle mass that's trained is much more metabolically active than any other tissue. And so as we age, we want that metabolic activity to stay lean. and we want the stress to stay low. So we're just all I'm preaching, and like what we've talked about, and what has worked is the buy-in that recovery is the most important factor.
Yes.
And your workout is only as good as your ability to recover from it, and that's what you become incredible at. Like you become incredible at paying attention to what your body's telling you. Mm-hmm. You track your aura ring, your heart rate variability, your readiness, and I'm
obsessive about it actually.
That's the one obsession I'm all about.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, my readiness is down. I don't quite feel right.
Right.
I think I'm going to skip today. Hell yeah, you're going to skip today. Mm-hmm. Like, how I run my business is I want long-term benefit, not like cram as many people in as many sessions as possible. It's like, I want what's best for the person. And so like someone like you that buys in. So when you text me like, I don't know, I'm like, what do you think? I think I should take up. We're done. We're taking it off. Mm-hmm. Like we'll come back another day. And that doesn't happen
very often.
No.
Although when I was supposed to be on this podcast with you, I woke up sick.
Yeah.
And my aura ring was telling me.
Yeah.
It was wild. And it was not wrong.
And the thing
it took me down.
I was most proud about you with was that you listened to it and you didn't come back hard until it told you were ready. Because it takes a while to recover from that stuff.
Well, I think I just sent, what was it, yesterday? I sent my readiness score and my sleep score and said, wow, it's been over 2 weeks before it really got back to baseline, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've become super obsessive about recovery and erring on that side versus the other. And something that you said about the stress that we're all under, because we are all under stress, 100%. Whether we like it or not, no matter how great your life is, we are all under stress. I think one thing that, and I can't remember, it must have been you that told me this, but our bodies don't say, oh, well, you're stressing it in a good way here and in a good way here, good way here. Oh, this isn't so good. Your body just goes, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm fucking stressed.
Yeah.
And let me hold on to everything.
Yeah.
Let me keep this person chunky because we might be going into a famine.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that people don't get. They think, oh, but exercise, I'm depressed, I need to exercise. Or I'm overwhelmed, I need to exercise. Not always.
Yeah.
Go for a freaking walk.
Or take a nap.
Yes.
I see in the world I live in, the biggest enemy is fatigue. People are tired, they're overworked, they're overstressed, they're undersleeping, they're undereating. I don't typically deal with a person that eats too much. My biggest issue is people not eating enough. We're too busy. We're trying to cram too much in. We're trying to do too much. And then we're buying off on I got to eat less. It's a very different world that I see with because I'm typically working with the higher achiever person, like the people that like to exercise, they're trying to live a better life, they're trying to be more successful, they're going for things, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the people that just want to live their life to the fullest.
Right.
It's a very different spectrum. They're not the lazy ones sitting on the couch all day. I don't see a lot of those people.
Yes.
I know that world is out there.
Yes.
But what I see the biggest problem is like all this messaging is going towards those people, but it's people like us that are buying off. Oh, I got to exercise more. I got to eat less. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a guy, and the greatest thing came out. I was like, this is so brilliant. A coach pulled him aside. He said, hey, I know I'm harping on the team to work harder, to do more, to be more aggressive. And he said, here's the thing. Those of you that are hearing it aren't the ones it's meant for.
I heard that. You mentioned that before.
I did, yeah. I'm like, that was so profound to me because I'm always like, I'm not doing enough. I got to do more. I got to do more. But that's the reality. If you're hearing it, it's not meant for you.
Yes.
And that's the people that I tend to end up hiring me to work with them, to help them out. People in those scenarios. How do I get the extra little edge? Or everything I'm doing is not working. What do I do? So.
Well, it's strategic.
Yes.
And people, sadly, it's become a world of, let's just watch this 22-year-old influencer that has 3 million followers. She must know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And that drives me bonkers, as you know. We've had that conversation.
Yeah.
It's strategic, and we're all going to, hopefully, God willing, you are going to go through menopause and deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
It's been hard for me. I think turning 59 last February was hard. I didn't expect it to be because I thought, it's not the big one. It's not 60. But 59 was a little jarring for me because I realized, holy shit, this is my last year in my 50s. I'm a senior citizen. And no, really.
I know.
And I've been doing this for so long. Are people going to still want to take my classes? Or are they still going to want to? I don't know. Is it time for me to hang up my mic? I don't know. And what my husband keeps telling me is there is a market for people like you that have been through it, that are doing it, that are showing you can age gracefully and make it through to the other side. I'm not a 20-year-old influencer, and I don't look hot like that anymore, but I am very happy with how I am able to move, what I'm able to do. And I still get 20-year-olds in my class. So that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard. And it's hard so I think, you know, to your point, you attract people to your business to train with you and to work with you that get that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting the ones that just want to have the fun class.
Right.
And, you know, have the great music and all that. There's plenty of that around.
Yeah.
We can find that so many places.
Yeah.
And it just, I'm so grateful for learning the lesson that, okay, less is more. This is cool.
Yeah.
You have permission to scale back from what you were doing.
If you hang up your mic, I'm gonna.
Oh, I won't. I've already told Bobby at Raw that they're gonna have to carry me out of there
because you're the perfect example of what's possible.
Thank you.
Like the perfect example of what's possible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Honest, you know Eric Weeks.
Of course.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
I remember
he used to take my spin classes.
Yeah,
Ask him about that.
Years ago, he said, he goes, man, I turned 40. The warranty's expired. I got to start taking great care of it. And it's always stuck with me. It's like, okay, the warranty has expired. Mm-hmm. Now the hard work starts.
Yes.
When you're in your 20s, you can do whatever the hell you want, and you're going to change quickly. Like,
for sure.
There's not, I'll be honest, like there's not one young influencer on social media that I will ever look to for advice.
Well, that's because you're mature.
Well, but I'm finding the people that have created results in others.
Right.
Like those are the ones I go learn from. Mm-hmm. I'll do it. I'll cover whatever it costs to go learn from the best in the world that have proven results. That's who I go to.
Right.
And they're not all over social media.
Right.
They're too busy taking care of people.
Right.
They're not sitting there and they look great, all those things, but they're not showing their bodies off on Instagram. They don't care about that. They're taking care of people.
I think when we've talked about this too. When did it become the be all measuring stick, if you will, if you have a six-pack abs?
Yeah, which is super
weird.
That is
for women or men.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
If you've got that, this person knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
That it really, I don't know. But we've also talked about, I can think back, and I've even shown you pictures. Here's me at 45 thinking I look chunky in this photo, and I'm freaking ripped. You know what I mean? That's another problem. That we all have this sort of hazy filter that we gaze ourselves through. And we don't appreciate where we are. And we need to, because the collagen doesn't, it goes, you think, oh, my face was fat. No, you had collagen in your face. It's appreciate where you are. And I've tried to instill that in my kids, especially my daughter who plays volleyball, beach volleyball for Cal Poly SLO. And I know she, like most women I know, at first was like, oh, I don't know if I want to wear this, or, over the summer, girls play in thong bikinis when they're playing beach volleyball. Really, not at school, of course, right. But it's there's some of these girls that are just freaking dialed in, right? And you, just like most of us, we look at other people and think, oh, I don't look exactly like that. And it's comparison is the thief of joy.
100%.
Right? And I love that saying. And we always can pick apart something. With ourselves, I'm sure you can too. And he does look like that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to tell you. So that's something I've had to work on, and just, the whole process has been really interesting because I backslide sometimes. You'll have to talk me off a ledge.
Yeah. So do I. We all do.
Yeah.
It's hard when you constantly see youth as the solution and the answer and the good life.
Right.
But in all reality, I always say aging is a privilege. Like,
amen.
If you age well and you take care of yourself well, I love my life at 48.
Sure.
Like,
you're still a baby.
Well, yeah, but I remember, when I was in my 20s. So my dad had me when he was super young. My parents both did, and I was in my 20s, and my dad was like 42, 43, and I had him come to Vegas with me and some of my buddies. I talked my mom into letting him come, and he comes, and we keep him up all night, take him to the clubs, all these things. And he goes home, and my mom calls. She's like, were you trying to kill your father? I'm like, oh no, we're having a great time. Like, it's like, he's been in bed for like 3 days. Like, what are you thinking? So I remember thinking like, man, 42 is really old.
Right.
But I'm thinking, okay, I could go to Vegas with some young bucks and hang with them for the whole weekend. Like, I know I could.
Right.
So my perspective was so different on like what's old. But when I believe in our industry, the most valuable people are the ones that are getting up there, moving well, doing the things they love, taking great care of themselves, having great energy.
Yes.
Drive for life is still all there.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't go away if you take care of yourself.
Right.
But the people that have figured that out, they're to me the most precious people in our industry because they've been through it.
Right.
And once every year past 40, it gets harder and harder and harder to maintain that stuff.
Right.
You have to get stricter and more dialed in and more strategic. You can't just go work out for a week and everything changes. No. You can't not eat for a weekend and lose 10 pounds. You do that, you're going to gain 10 pounds.
Sure.
So to me, it's like, you can't give up your mic. Like, that's the last thing you can give up. Because people need to hear your wisdom. Like, I love how much I've learned from you in our conversations.
Wow.
Oh, you have incredible insight because you're living it. You're super dialed in and you're very in tune to what's going on with your body. And so, like, to me, your wisdom's incredible.
Well, another thing we've talked about, because obviously we've talked about a lot of these things, is the people that we used to revere were people that had been in it for a long time. They were the Jack LaLannes, they were the Karen Voights, they were the, Jane Fonda even, that had been, they weren't 20.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sound like, bash the young people. That's not where I'm at either.
They're in a learning stage.
But I remember wanting to I would drive up to LA, and I don't know if you know who Karen Voight is. She used to have a studio, right? I would drive up there to take her high impact class because it was freaking amazing. And she wasn't a kid. She was not 20.
Yeah.
And it's just so different. That has shifted.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is that I am an open book. You want to ask me, I've had many women come up to me after classes and say, okay, you've been through menopause, right? Tell me what you know. Tell me what you think. And or even about when I made a post about my 2-year anniversary of having, my explant, I could not believe how many women reached out to me. And I have no problem with that. I love it. Yeah. You want to pick my brain about things, about aging gracefully? I'm your girl. I'm your girl. Absolutely. Yeah. But it may not look the way you think it's going to look.
Yeah. It's going to look very different than what people think.
Right.
They're still trying to take care of things in their 40s, 50s, 60s like they did in their 20s.
Right.
And the rules completely changed because the hormonal profile has completely changed.
Yes.
The environment of our hormones, it's completely different. So it's a whole different role of strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you made the point about eating, about, women still are so fucked up that think, oh, well, I'll just eat less.
Yeah.
Or, when we got on this intermittent fasting, and I got on board that for a while, I'm just going to eat one meal.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But how are you going to eat one meal and still eat, 75.75 or 1 pound of, or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight? How are you going to do that in one meal? You're
impossible.
not.
No.
You're not. So after 30 years, I started eating meat again because I realized I can't get this all in just by, doing some tuna fish here and there, right? Yeah. It doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's changing everything, being open to that. Because I think some people, and I'm sure you've had people like this come to you that say, okay, Brad, I'm tired of this. What do I do? And then you say, these are the things. And, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to try it.
The people that I have success with are the ones who have basically tried everything and nothing's working, and they're super frustrated. Then they're kind of that point, they're ready for me to start throwing some nuggets at them.
Sure.
To ask a woman to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight.
It's a lot.
And they do the math, they're like, oh, hell no, I'm not even eating half of that.
Right.
Well, then nothing else really matters because until you hit that, we're not going to get anywhere fast. Exercise is damaging you. You're not sleeping well. You're not recovering well. Your body can't rebuild itself. Yeah. Your metabolism is slowing down. Your cravings are through the roof. So, like, I kind of have, when I start with people, like, are you willing to do this? Yes or no? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to cut back on your exercise? Are you willing to eat more protein? Are you willing to sleep 8 hours a night? Like, what are you willing to do and willing not to do? And then I can tell you, can we work together or not?
Right.
Because if you're not willing to do these few things, my workouts are not going to matter. They're just going to probably make things worse.
Yeah.
It's a funny scenario. But people are very, I was just showing you today.
Yes.
People are very opinionated. And if you go against what they believe is right, they will just shred you. I got called the stupidest motherfucker on the face of the earth today. That was a comment on one of my posts, and it was one of many on this post by
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably not one of your big fans.
No, I pissed off the world of bodybuilders because I said something different than what they all believe.
Well, bodybuilders are totally different animals.
Well, yeah, it's funny because the podcast I was talking about older men and how I told them don't bulk and cut. It's really hard at our age to do that. Because you're just going to get fat. You're going to have insulin problems. It gets harder and harder to cut the fat down. Just get lean first and then create an environment that makes it easy to put muscle mass on. Right. Well, the clip came out just talking about don't do that. And so I got my ass handed to me. This is the one video that went viral for me.
So stupid, bro.
Yeah, I was a moron. One guy's like, well, for Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler worked pretty well. I'm like, fuck off. That's called $10,000 a month in drugs. Right. Like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't bulking and cutting that made them look like that. Like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
I don't. You guys can hate me. I don't care. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. And to me, that's not healthy.
No.
And I'm going to stand my ground on that one. Just like when I train an MMA fighter to go jump in a UFC cage, that's not healthy.
No.
Or an NFL guy, go strap a helmet on and bang your head on. I'll train you, but that's not healthy.
Right.
Running a marathon, not healthy.
To that point, those guys recover really well.
Yeah, because they're smart. Yeah. Because it's all about, they get paid a lot of money by how well they perform. And they learn, the more recovered I am, the more energy I have in the field, the better my brain works, the better I play. That's worth millions of dollars to those people.
Wow.
Yeah. So they no longer train themselves into the ground. They're incredibly smart with that. It's really interesting. I have some guys that, in the past overtrained themselves, and they're like, man, if I would have just not been such a knucklehead and trained so much, I would have had such a longer career. I would have made so much more money. In sports, it's really clear. Right. Recovery, it's all about recovery. And they're super hyper vigilant on it now.
Yeah.
It's just, general pop is always a little behind the world of special forces and professional athletes. I'm lucky getting to work in that world, so I get to see kind of where they're all at and what they're doing. But it's pretty cool. God, we are ripping through this.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we done already?
Almost.
Oh
but I want to have one more question for you. And it's about your daughter.
Okay.
So your daughter is a freshman in college, and she's an athlete.
Yep.
And my kids are in youth sports. I want you to share with us how you raised her or how you kind of helped her get through the world of sports and into college. If you have any advice for parents, because the parents that I'm around, the teams I'm around, the parents are great, coaches are great, but the parents I see in the world around us that we compete against, there is so much pressure on these little kids to be college athletes.
Sure.
And so much pressure to be a professional athlete. It's like, oh my gosh, they're 8, 9, 10, 13 years old. Like, stop.
Yeah.
So I get to train your daughter.
Yep.
Love her to death.
Yep.
But she's so grounded and comfortable with herself. And she's not, my opinion, my assessment, she is not doing it for you or Matt.
No.
She is doing it for herself.
The love of the sport.
Yes. You have any advice for parents on, as a freshman, she becomes, she played on the threes, the twos or threes?
Yeah, she played on the threes
as a freshman, and they went to the Final Four for the first time in school history.
Amazing.
So this little girl showed up.
NCAAs.
And balled out.
Yes, she did.
So any advice for parents?
Well, one thing that I think about is, I can't remember where I heard it. It might have been Coach Lyle. Do you follow him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That talked about, not every kid is going to be a D1 athlete.
Yeah.
When your kid is 8 years old playing whatever they're playing, some of these parents get a little nuts.
Yeah.
And I think part of what helped Quinn was my husband played college sports. He played volleyball for UCLA, and then he went to UCSB to play football and finished there when they still had a football team. So he knows what it takes to be in that. So he has not only been her biggest fan, but also kind of critic as well. But as far as keeping her grounded, you're going to have to put in extra work, and that looks like seeing Brad Davidson, for example. You can't just, you might be really good, but you can't just show up. Yeah. You have to do some extra stuff to set yourself apart from all these other athletes. But I think the thing about Quinn is that she is a workhorse. She is a sponge. Her coaches have said that she wants to learn. And I think even she's away at school and she's texting you about what workouts she should be doing now in the off season.
How she should be eating.
Right.
She's constantly aware and trying to better herself.
Yes. And it's a fine line because I remember having a daughter versus a male. Male's a little different, but a female, I remember reading, God, you don't ever want to talk about being fat in front of them. You don't want to talk about, you don't want your kid to always see you on a diet. You don't want them to be worried about X, Y, because there's enough of that anyway that's put on them with societal stuff, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think I worked really hard to show her that, and her dad as well. We both work out, we eat healthy. Me better than her dad. Sorry, Matt. But I don't know. It's a little tricky. It's a little tricky to kind of, because you're going through it with your daughter. She wants to play.
Yeah.
And it's tricky, right? Because you kind of get into that space where how much do I push? How much do I, you'll kind of find your rhythm, I think.
I learned a few things from watching you guys with her. I don't coach my daughter. I find her coaches that I believe in.
Yep.
And then I let it be.
Right.
I never interact with a coach. If there's an issue, my daughter interacts with a coach.
Right.
I learned that by watching, by how you guys treated me with her.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is your thing.
Yeah.
You do your thing.
Yes.
And then, I know that if Matt didn't agree with it, or if Quinn was complaining about it, he would have a conversation with me.
Sure.
But you guys are very hands off. So I learned that, because I have a lot of other parents that are like very hands on. You need to be doing this, and you need to be doing that, and why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And those kids never, as soon as they get away to college, they check out. Where Quinn got to college and excelled.
Yeah, she really did.
So I picked up a lot of, and Quinn, when she needed something or wanted something, she would ask.
Yes.
It wasn't you guys asking me, it was Quinn coming to me. So I picked that up, and my daughter's been able to have really good conversations with her coaches and guidance with her coaches.
Yes.
And one of her coaches, I trained when she played college volleyball.
That's so cool.
I've had zero conversations with her all club season.
Yeah.
We say hi, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I'm very clear with no, this is I'm just here to watch. And I learned that from you guys, just because of how you treated me. And I've seen some parallels with other kids I've trained that have made it professional or made it big. The interaction with the parent was always that. It was, what do you do? How does it work? Son or daughter, do you believe in this? Is what you want? Yes. Okay, great. Do your thing.
Right.
And the only time I'd hear from the parents was, we're concerned about this, or, I remember calling one guy, don't you want to know what's going on? Your son's about to play in Major League Baseball. And he goes, no. He goes,
that's great.
I hired you to do your job. My son believes in you. And unless he starts complaining about you, or you start not showing up or whatever, I'm hands off.
That's awesome.
So I've caught that with you guys. And when I see the difference with your daughter compared to these, instead of getting away from you guys and then partying and running away and okay, I'm out of the stress, she went to college and excelled. A complacency, I think, is one of my biggest fears with young athletes. And that's the last thing that I'm concerned about with her. Even though she went and had a lot of success, you can see the hunger just in the conversations I have with her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was something I picked up from you guys as parents of a high-level athlete.
I think that part of it was this team carried 23 girls.
Yeah.
And there was 10 spots on the team.
Yeah.
And knowing that, I think really lit a fire under her.
Yeah.
That you're going to have to earn that spot.
Yeah.
You're going to have to earn your place in those 10. And we didn't know. It wasn't like the coach was calling us saying, hey, guess what? Your daughter's one of the... No, we literally did not know until the first match if she was going to play or not. And Matt has always been really good about, he's super poker faced during watching her play. I have to learn to be a little bit better about that. Yeah. I'm still I used to laugh when my son was playing baseball. He would sit in the outfield. He didn't even want to be, he would just chill and do his thing. Yeah. So he's really good at sort of just taking it all in, watching, being a spectator, and not, because I've seen parents that ride their kids.
Oh, it's horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't think kids excel under those circumstances.
Well, I've also noticed watching you guys with their you never coddle her oh, you're the best ever. You're so good. You're so that. But I've also never seen you guys ever rip into her.
No.
And she's never and I know if you guys, she would eventually would have complained to me about it.
Sure.
So it's it's a really nice balance of, we're always there to watch you play.
Yes.
We're going to do whatever it takes to make you great. Whatever you want to do, we're going to do.
Yep.
But, and then we're just going to watch you play.
Yep.
I thought that was super interesting because I see a lot of parents are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing?
It's terrible.
Or oh, it's okay. You're the best ever. I mean, I've seen all over Instagram now, 9U, best athlete in the nation.
No.
I'm like, really? At 9 years old, you're going to claim that?
No.
Like, that's a lot of pressure on this little kid.
Yeah.
Like, where's he going to go from here? He's like, if you're the best at 9, like, where do you have to go?
Right.
Like, so I see like both of those extremes be really damaging. And I feel like complacency, or like one causes complacency, and the other one causes the kid to check out as soon as they're out. They'll get a college scholarship. I see this a lot. They'll get a college scholarship. They'll show up, and by the end of the first semester, they've quit and they're out partying and just living their life because the parents are no longer there to hammer on them.
Right.
And then the other one's like, I don't understand why it's so bad. They've never gone through any adversity because parents always coddle them and take care of them. And so I think you guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
I love working with her. And thank you for sharing some of your advice to parents.
Of course.
It's something I'm very passionate about because I see so much of it. But to see your daughter show up and thrive as a freshman the way she did on such a good team was pretty awesome. It was awesome,
yeah. The kid has to want it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the parent wants it.
Yeah.
The kid has to want it. And the kid has to want to lean into that learning. Because her workout week was a 20-hour workout week during season.
You have to love it.
Yeah. And because with academics and then athletics, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little startling to her at first.
Yeah.
Just to kind of try and find that balance of, oh gosh, how am I going to, juggle these things? But she got her stride.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really cool. I'm proud of her, and I'm excited for the next. I'm already sad.
Yeah.
Because the season's over.
It went quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Thank you.
I told you that was going to go quick.
I know. It was so much fun. Maybe we do part 2.
I love that. Let's definitely do it. Definitely do it. Well, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to experience a class with Raquel, check out Raw Yoga.
Yes.
It is so much fun.
Yes, Yoga Lattes and Strength. They can follow me on the gram too.
Oh, yeah. We'll post that. But we'll just share with them what your Instagram is.
The Fitness Stalker.
The Fitness Stalker.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Take care.